All right, what's going on, people? Happy Saturday to you wherever you are. I got a confession to make. It's a sports confession. Sitting here in my office today. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl. I think you knew that. That's not something I'm confessing. I'm way more jacked up about the champ, about the pound for pound, about the belt on the line tonight at this UFC pay-per-view than I am the Super Bowl. Now, part of it is, as a Giant fan, I hate the Eagles. And even though I always liked the Chiefs, I always thought KC was kind of like KC, so I always liked him back in the day. I remember going all the way back to when Montana finally left the Niners and joined the Chiefs. I was like, okay, I can get into that. Arrowhead, I had a bunch of Chiefs jerseys. I had an Okoye jersey back in the day. I don't know. I just can't get into it. Plus, I hate the 2-week break. I've always hated that. I think the Pro Bowl, whether it's a game or the flag football nonsense and BS they're doing, too long of a break, you kind of lose that stranglehold. But for me, I'm building up and counting down. I cannot wait for this event coming up tonight. And I did a full-blown preview in one of the pods, but for the YouTube folk on the early bird special, I ended up coming down to picking Makhachev in round 4 by submission. And I hope I'm wrong. I'm rooting for Volk. I mean, how do you not love this dude? First of all, the way he fights and how good he is on the feet and his quickness and his fight IQ and the heart that's shown. And this guy always seems to be an underdog, always getting shit on and not getting the love. And I know he's undersized, but certainly for me, I kind of resonate with that too. So I'm all up in this, Volk push to try and hope he could find a way. But here's the problem. You just got too many ways that Islam can win this fight. We saw him against Charles, and he was surprisingly good on the feet, and that's, I think, scary. About the clench and when he gets you to the ground, and I don't care who Volkanovski has been. This is when I hear and covering baseball for 20 years, we went down, oh, don't worry about the layoff. We were simulating at-bats, or, we did this to prepare. And you can't simulate and prepare for one of these Dagestani wrestlers like a Makhachev who comes from that Khabib bloodline, if you will, who getting out there and he gets a hold of you and he gets that squeeze and you going out. You can't prepare for that. So I fear that. And going back and watching, both of their fights, and I went back and this is the sickness that I have. I watched at least the last 6 or 7 of each of their fights the last couple of weeks. And I think, to me, there's no doubt about it. When you think about that Ortega spot where Volk looked like he was getting choked out, and that was in deep. You feel like, okay, his defensive submissions, and part of it because he's got that thick, almost like he has no neck, Volk, because he's a short, stocky, thick, strong dude. But it's just a different thing, and I think more weapons for Islam once he gets there. And I think Volkanovski's going to thwart some takedowns early. I think it'll take some time for Islam to really get some ground control on him. But I think once you get into that 3rd, that 4th round, I think he's going to have more success. And the problem is that I think what's going to present a problem for Islam eventually is he's overconfident. In my opinion, he is more overconfident. Khabib was super confident and arrogant. But I think you could just tell he dissected the fighters he was facing. He understood. Islam, to me, he does kind of come off a little bit like he's going to get shocked and get knocked out here by somebody. But it's more likely to, I think, be a Dustin Poirier who catches him before he gets, let's say, taken down in a fight at some point. Then it's going to be somebody like a Volk. I don't think Volk is powerful enough to do it, especially at 155. I think for Volk to win, it's got to be by decision. Thwart takedowns, piece him up a bit on the feet, do some damage, really use the jab, use his kicks, and, use a lot. He's got to try a lot harder. Right? The way I look at this fight is, we'd see a lot of times against that Rams offense when they had the greatest show on turf. You be against them, you got to go 17 plays and 77 yards and score a touchdown, and 3 plays and one pass to Bruce or Torrey Holt or Marshall Faulk, whoever, from Kurt Warner, and boom, they're in. And it's like, okay, we got to go do all that again. That's how this fight is. I think Islam could do it in a second. I think Volk really got to do it over 5 rounds. It's going to be an uphill climb, but I'm hoping Volkanovski can do this. UFC fan, one, how pumped are you for this pay-per-view? I'm super pumped for this pay-per-view. All right, that's number one. And number two, does Volk really have a shot to get this done and become champ? Of course, you can always beat champs and join me over at Rock and Roll Sushi in Alpharetta, Georgia, anytime. And if I'm not there, find out when I am. Call over to the store and get on out and hang out and talk some sports and food and drinks with me at the best new spot locally here in Georgia. In the meantime, enjoy the pay-per-view tonight. Let's hope for champ. But I think it's going to be Islam, round 4 by submission.